Hey folks, Captain Doc. Well, in this setting, I guess I'm Dr. Frisbee, but whatever. One speech that I often give my patients, I talk about the three things that if everybody did this, I'd only have a part time job. And guys, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to want to retire. So if you all could do these three things for me, that's going to make the change a lot easier. Let's go over them, shall we? Number one, take care of the whole person. Take care of your whole self. Okay. And I mean, tending to the physical, the emotional, the social, and the spiritual, because they're all intertwined. You can't just treat one piece of a person. You need to take care of your whole self. The physical, make sure you're eating healthy, sleeping healthy, getting some exercise. Make sure that you get in for the checkups with your physician. Get routine labs done. That way we can track and set a baseline of what your labs look like. It's one of the best ways to see if anything has gotten off kilter. Okay. You all know me saying about get your colonoscopies at age 45, right? Or 10 years prior to your parents having polyps. You knew I'd have to sneak that in here, right? And if you do have any medical conditions, take care of them, treat them. Don't stick your head in the sand, okay? Especially us guys tend to be horrible about that, all right? Ladies, you didn't hear that. But seriously, take care of anything that you have. What you invest in your physical health right now is how well your physical health is going to be in 10 years, in 20 years. So make sure that you're doing something for it now. The emotional well being. Make sure that you have good stress management skills. Make sure that you're doing things that you enjoy. Recreational interests. Some of those should be creative in nature. And in fact, that's something I might do a chapter on later on. And if at any point you're struggling, get in with a good, reputable psychologist or a counselor or a clinical social worker, whatever it is that's available to you. Be sure to ask around and go in there and try it out. There's a lot of things that we can treat very efficiently. Anxiety, we do pretty darn good with anxiety. Depression, we do pretty darn good with depression too. So if there's anything that you're struggling with, guys, get in there and see somebody. We need to have going to see a mental health provider. That should be as natural as going and seeing your physician if you're sick. Okay. So take care of your emotional well being. Social. Hopefully, you have a good, healthy social network, friends, people, family that love you and appreciate spending time with you, and you appreciate spending time with them. And I think it's important that those relationships have some equity to them. Okay, that it's not just ends up being one sided. Now I have there's this one particular psychiatrist around me that's, oh, you need more relationships. You got to have all the friends. Well, that depends on the person, because that's a very personalized thing. I think the litmus test really comes down to, do you feel lonely? If you feel lonely, you probably need more than what you have. If you don't, if you feel pretty good, you're probably okay with where you're at. The spiritual. Folks, I don't care what your belief system is. If you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you're Hindu, if you're pagan, I hope that you're exploring what it is you believe. And if you do happen to be completely atheistic, then maybe more of a humanistic perspective. But it's important to kind of think about that, to get into what you believe. In fact, there's some great science. They did this study about individuals that were more spiritually active. Guess what? They tended to heal from illness quicker. They tended to heal from surgeries quicker. So, some form of spiritual involvement is actually healthy for us. Quick interjection here, guys. Part of social is also your work environment. Hopefully, you have a job that you enjoy with people that you get along with. If it's not going well, folks, that's not good for your overall health. So definitely reconsider what you're doing if that's the case. Okay, so physical, emotional, social, and spiritual. All right, what's the second thing? Maintain healthy boundaries. Look, I don't want you trouncing over other people's boundaries, and I don't want them trouncing over yours. Okay. It is very important emotionally, psychologically to maintain healthy boundaries. Okay. Know what's okay, know what's not okay, and feel comfortable asserting those. Hey, most self help books truly are a bunch of junk. That's a true story. A lot of times it's written by somebody that actually has little to no experience in behavioral health, or it's just somebody that's rebranding an idea that's been around forever, or it's somebody that's just trying to make some money. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. But let me share with you just a couple of self help books that I really believe can help with this. Number one of the go tos is Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend. Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend. Folks, I have had people read this book and they come back and they tell me how it has changed their life. Seriously, it's a great read at establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries. Now, let me mention something about this. That they actually, it does come from more of a Judeo-Christian perspective. So just go into it knowing that if it's something that doesn't gel with your belief system, look past those parts. But still, I think a lot of the lessons in here can really be applicable to almost everybody, if not everybody, truthfully. Let me also say this: they did so well with this book. Cloud and Townsend came out with several sequels. There's like Boundaries for Leaders, Boundaries for Your Children, boundaries for your crazy uncle on your sister's that was twice removed side. I don't know. They might not have that one. And maybe they're working on it right now. But anyway, I don't believe you need any of those. I would start with just the original book. Now, if you're perusing and you see one that really seems to speak to you, fine. But this is where I would personally start. I have been told that there's a workbook that can also go along with this. I haven't looked at that, but I've had some people say that it's really good. Might be worth looking into. When you order this, be careful. Turns out there's a small little pocket version. One of my patients tried to order one and they ended up with the small pocket version, and that's not what they were after. But that's a great place to start for learning how to better maintain and create healthy boundaries with others. I'm also going to mention this book. When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Dr. Manuel J. Smith. This little $8 paperback book, this was one of my textbooks for an undergrad class. You know how great it was to only have to pay $8 for a textbook? Oh, I think that might have been my favorite class. But Dr. Smith in this, he kind of breaks it into two halves. The first half are what are your rights as an assertive person? And the second half are what are some tools, what are some techniques that you can use to set those boundaries and to not feel guilty for saying no when you need to. Folks, again, great read, and I've had people come back and say how much that it has really helped them in their lives. So definitely take a look at this, okay? Now, let me also say Dr. Manuel J. Smith hit it big here, came out with a sequel. It's my understanding it wasn't received quite as well. Again, these are the two that I recommend if you need help on setting boundaries and maintaining them. Number three, here we go. Let go of the things you can't control. And folks, I got to tell you, I think that's the toughest one for me. Out of all those, that's the toughest one. But you've got to look, is this something that's in my control and I can do something about it? Or is it something that I can't, that I have limited control over? There was I was at a conference and they played this video by a Dr. Luskin, and I want to say he was out of Massachusetts, but don't quote me on that. Dr. Luskin, if you actually watch this, I'm sorry. Uh, but to paraphrase what I saw there, Dr. Luskin was saying, in life, events happen. And some of these are wonderful events, and some of these are horrible events. And Dr. Luskin said, it's like, look, if we strip the emotion away, the fact of the matter is they are just events. Now, the good ones, fantastic. Count your blessings. Don't worry about it. But what about those bad ones? What do we do about that? And again, to paraphrase, Dr. Luskin was saying, well, we either have to fix it or we have to let it go. He said what we often do is we just get mad about it, right? We cross our arms and we're angry and mad that this bad thing happened. But he made the point that that accomplishes nothing. I heard somebody else once say that anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other guy dies. Boy, that's some wisdom there, isn't it? It's so true. It's so true. So yeah, Luskin was saying you either have to fix it or let it go. And to fix it, we have to have some control over it. If we have zero control over the negative event, that defaults us to only one option, doesn't it? Right? Now, Dr. Luskin did not use the term let it go. He said you have to forgive it. Okay, forgiveness. So if you Google him, Dr. Luskin forgiveness. Uh, Now, this is just me. In my personal opinion, I think forgiveness takes a little bit more. Okay, now this is the words in my head. It's up to you. It's your definitions. But the definition of forgiveness in my head requires a little bit more. I can let something go and not necessarily forgive it based off of my definitions. Now, I said that to a patient once and she called me out. She's like, well, Dr. Frisbee, in that case, did you really let it go? Look, I'm the doctor. All right. No, but it was a valid point. But still, again, whenever I look at or read or watch something from Luskin, whenever he mentions forgiveness, I just kind of translate it in my head, work with how it works for you. Okay. Somebody had once told me, like, man, everything's on YouTube anymore. And when I left that particular conference, I wonder if that Luskin video is on there. So I just typed in Dr. Luskin forgiveness. And by golly, he has all kinds of videos right there on YouTube. So folks, take a look. And as always, whether it's the Luskin videos, whether it's the couple of books that I mentioned, or with stuff I say, as always, take what you find resonates with you and that you can use, and the rest of it, let it go. Hey, folks, one more thing that I wanted to mention about letting go of the things you can't control is a good tool to use to help you get in the right frame of mind for this is the serenity prayer. Okay. Now, again, I think you can use that regardless of your religion, your spirituality, or lack thereof. It is a very good tool, a good mantra to use to get in the right place in order to let go of those things that you can't control. Okay. If you're not familiar, check it out. So there you have it, folks. Those are the three things that if everybody did these, I would only have a part-time job. And like I said, one of these days, I want to retire and sell the world. So if there's anything you can do here to help me out, let's go ahead and do them, okay? Remember, take care of your whole self. Maintain good, healthy boundaries and let go of the things you can't control. All right, I'll stop talking y'all's ears off there. But if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Otherwise, feel free to reach out on Facebook, Instagram. Of course, we're on TikTok now as well. So, guys, as always, fair winds, following seas. Don't forget to find your sailboat. Dock out. Now I have to do my charting.